Hello, my name is Anya Cecil, and I will be exploring how important social networks are in finding employment and how a person's level of education directly affects the size of their income. These two ideas relate to the plays Good People, Detroit, and American Buffalo. All three of these plays have characters that deal with the hardships of living in lower economic income areas and how their social networks do not help with this situation. Of the many hardships these characters face, unemployment is one of the most predominant. According to McDonald, Lynn, and Owl's research, social networks influence the amount of job information that people receive, which in turn helps to shape their opportunities in the labor market. The other big issue these characters face is the lack of education. According to Lubsendorf's research, average income rose last year from 2010 for homeowners, non-Hispanic whites, and households headed by a person with a college degree. Average income fell for renters, non-white, and Hispanic families, and households headed by someone without a high school diploma. First, let's explore these issues in the play Detroit. The characters Kenny and Sharon are straight out of rehab. Kenny is able to get a job at a warehouse, which she is fired from, and Sharon says she works customer service at a phone bank. Kenny and Sharon have no friends except for their neighbors they just met, Mary and Ben. Ben is unemployed. It's most likely due to the market crash of 2008. We come to this conclusion when he says, "Ha ha, I am a deadbeat, but no, really, I got laid off my job at this bank. I was a loan officer, and they laid everybody off. Literally, I don't know who was doing the work anymore. And so they gave me this halfway decent severance pay, and also I could get unemployment. So I'm using it as an opportunity to set up my own business." Mary, his wife, is a paralegal and is currently the main source of income for the household. We find out at the end of the play that Ben has not been working on his business website. As we can see, his current social network is not conducive to finding a well-paying job or creating a customer base on his website. With the employment information we get from the play about these four characters, we can conclude that they have very little to no higher education. A warehouse worker does not require more than a high school diploma, neither does a customer service phone operator. A loan officer requires some special training, but not a bachelor's degree. A paralegal does not require any higher education either. Next, let's look at the characters in the play American Buffalo. The character Bob, a young man, is hired by a junk shop owner, Don. Employment doesn't seem to be an issue to these characters in the play, but it also isn't clear if the rest of the characters are employed or just gambling, pipe-smoking gangsters. Growing up amongst lower economic income crowd would also not be an ideal social network for finding a well-paying job. Reflecting on the entire play, one can agree with the Rich's statement in his review of American Buffalo in the New York Times. Funny or horrifying, American Buffalo is still a tale of men who are eternally trapped in the bottom rung of a social Darwinist ladder. Although none of the characters in American Buffalo seem to be concerned with looking for employment, they are definitely concerned with how to make money and getting it with the knowledge they possess from the streets. Don shares some of his knowledge with Bob in Act 1 when he says, "Was he born that way?" "Huh? I'm saying, was he born that way, or do you think he had to learn it?" "Learn it? Goddamn right he did, and don't forget it. Everything, Bobby, it's going to happen to you. It's not going to happen to you. The important thing is you can deal with it, and you can learn from it. And that is why I'm telling you to stand up. It's no different with you than with anyone else. Everything that I or Fletcher know, we picked up on the street. That's all business is: common sense, experience, and talent. Now let's look at the play Good People. The main character, Margaret, is fired from her job at the local dollar store because of her constant tardiness, which is due to her not having a reliable babysitter for her disabled daughter. Margaret is looking for another job and asks her bingo night friends if they have heard of any openings in the area. This particular social network of Margaret's isn't going to land her a decent paying job. So Margaret and her friends come up with a better plan. They decide to look to a past friend, Mike, for a job, who was Margaret's boyfriend in high school and is now a doctor. This strategy is a smart one. Expanding your social network increases your odds of finding work. However, the odds were not in Margaret's favor in this instance. Her lack of education and skill was apparent to Mike when she met with him to ask for work. This is how their conversation went. I mean, I knew you were smart, everybody knew that, but I would have never pictured you delivering babies. I don't actually deliver babies. You don't? I mean, I have in the past, but I am a reproductive endocrinologist. I don't know what you just said, but I got a little excited. Okay. Was that even English? I do fertility stuff. You should have just said that. And I help with high-risk pregnancies. I only went to Southie High after all. You can't be using those $5 words on me. Mike is the example of how an education and social network of well-educated and wealthy people can be very helpful in rising out of a lower economic income neighborhood. Mike's father knew this when he was growing up and pushed Mike to get his higher education. Finding a well-paying job has a lot to do with one's education. Most of the characters that I have focused on in these 3 plays have their high school diplomas at most. However, some probably don't even have that. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in May 2013, about 27% of all U.S. jobs were in occupations that typically require less education than a high school diploma for entry. These jobs had a median annual income wage of $20,350. That's just $4,840 above the poverty income guideline for a 2-person household, according to the ASPE and the U.S. Department of Human Health Services. In Act 1, Scene 1 of Good People, Margaret gets fired by her boss, Steve. In this scene, we are informed on the hourly wages of the people working at this dollar store. Margaret is paid $9.20 an hour, which makes her about $17,664 a year before taxes if she works full-time. With the wages Margaret made at the dollar store, her income, if she works full-time, is slightly above the poverty income guideline for a 2-person household. The examples of the characters in these 3 plays, as well as statistics and research, show us that social networks and a higher education play a key role in a person's income level.